What's going on, everybody? It's Zach R.O.R. Williams back with another episode of Uncaged. So many of y'all know my wife and I will do a podcast right before this, and then we take that topic and we come to our separate channels to talk about them specifically to men or women and those perspectives, perspective mindsets. And many of you know, if you've seen any of my other content, I'm just an aggressive person, just because I'm honest. I don't have time to fuck around with lying to you or being your yes man. If you want that shit, there's a bunch of fucking gurus out there, right, that'll be willing to give you that shit. Not me. We're going to get right into it. And so today we're talking about doing the fucking work. Now, this is going to be mostly men listening to this, if not all men. So it's our responsibility, guys, to honestly, plain and simple, do what the fuck we say we're going to do when the fuck we say we're going to do it. I look back on my life, the people that are in my life and the people that were in my life, and there's a big fucking difference in those people. And for some of them, it's only one. It's only one difference, right? You could be a good fucking person. You can mean the best stuff in the world, and you could have my back, but you don't do what the fuck you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. I can't rely on you. I can't have faith in you. I can't trust you. If I can't rely on you, have faith in you, or trust you, I have zero interest in you being around me. And I reflect back on my mentality there and say, well, who has that mentality with me? Like, what of my homies are looking at me being like, bro, I can't fucking rely on him. I can't trust him. I don't have faith in him. There's a reason they probably stopped contacting me, huh? But some of us need to really fucking take an internal reflection. Does your wife rely on you? Does your wife trust you? Does your wife have faith in you? What about your kids, bro? Can your kids rely on you? Can your kids trust you? Can your kids have faith in you? That's a fucking gut punch, man. Who the fuck are you? What the fuck are you doing? Who are you? It's these actions that define us. It's what we do that defines us. Life is literally, it's 10% what happens to us, and it's 90% what we do with it. Big Marv, shout out Big Marv. 10% circumstance, 90% reactions. So you can't control what's going on in the world. Can't control a lot of shit that you're dealing with. But you can control what you do with it, your reactions, how you respond, what the fuck you're going to do. And a lot of this comes down to the work. So if life is 10% this and 90% that, and you're fucking off the 90%, guess what? You're going to be stuck with just 10% shit coming back to you. You're going to be stuck with 10% of the sex drive from your wife. You're going to be dealing with 10% the faith from your kids that daddy is going to do what the fuck he says he's going to do when he says he's going to do it. That's rough, you know? And, you know, as a husband, as a father, as a friend, as an employer, I got to think about that. I got to take a deep dive into who I am and what I do. And making sure I do what the fuck I say I'm going to do when the fuck I say I'm going to do it, so that my wife can depend on me, so my kids can depend on me, so my friends can depend on me, so my employees can depend on me. Because what happens if I lose all of that? If I lose all of them, then what? What happens to Zach Williams then? Depressed, anxious, miserable. And you might be listening to this right now, and it might not be like holistically about your life that you're like fucking off on some of the shit that you should be doing. But some of it, And that little bit that you're fucking off is digging into you. Maybe you don't have your health locked down the way you should, physical or mental or spiritual. Maybe you don't have your wealth locked down the way you should. What happens if you were to die right the fuck now? What happens? Who takes care of your kids? Who then steps in and is going to be that motherfucker that does what the fuck he says when the fuck he says he's going to do it? How are they going to look at you? And how are they going to look at them? Maybe it's the legacy you're living or you're going to be leaving. It's the legacy you're building. Are you even building a legacy? Are you even thinking about your kids? Or if you don't have kids yet, that next generation that you're going to be creating, or the one after that, or the one after that. Or if you leave this earth prior to your wife, or a girlfriend, or a fiance, or whatever the fuck, then what happens to that significant other, that loved one, that partner? Have you thought about that? Do you even give a fuck to think about that kind of stuff? What about your relationship? You know, that's a tough one for a lot of people. You know, if you're not in a healthy relationship, or you're not in a relationship at all, the whole dream, the whole desire is to have a healthy one. Like, no one wakes up and they're like, I want to be in a toxic relationship for the rest of my life. So I think we can all agree. And if you're in a healthy one, there's always ways to improve it, right? What are you doing to create an atmosphere there that is something that is going to outlive your good days? Because there's going to be some bad days that you have. It just is what it is. What are you doing there? Health, wealth, relationships. What are you doing to make money? What are you actively doing every day? Whether it's you and corporate America working 9 to 5, or working for the man, or working for someone else in the rat race, which is fine. It's fine. There's a place for all of us. But what are you doing there? Are you giving yourself your all so that you can be efficient with the time, that while you're at work, you're making the most of it to reap the most benefits, right? Or are you just doing what you can to get by? Like, are you reliable? Can people rely on you? Can people trust you? Can people put their faith in you when it comes to making money? Because what happens when they stop being able to rely on you? What happens when they stop having faith in you? What happens when they stop being able to trust you? You're going to be in a bad situation. What's that look like to your wife and your kids? What does that say to them? They're smart. They can read between the lines. Daddy's not dependable. Daddy doesn't do what the fuck he's supposed to do. What lessons does that teach? How's your wife going to fuck you knowing that? How are your kids going to look at you at the dinner table? Now, I'm not wanting this to be a depressing conversation, but I want this to take a deep, hard reflection into the life that you're living and the things that you're fucking doing and the reactions that you're having to circumstances, things outside of your control, right? I'm talking about saving money next. You know, what are you doing to save money? And then let's talk about saving time. What are you doing to save time? What I mean by save time is spend that the way you want to be spending it. You know, are you sitting there with your phone jammed up your fucking ass the whole time? You know, I've got a 3-hour phone free rule in our house. The last thing I want my daughter seeing before she goes to bed is the underside of a fucking cell phone. And the first thing I want her seeing, again, is the underside of a cell phone. How is that a fucking fun way to grow up? To be brought into this world. You know, they obviously know no better, but how fucking depressing if you were to go back to your own childhood, constantly trying to get your parents' attention, and they're just blowing you off because they're so preoccupied with what other motherfuckers that they don't even fucking like are doing with their life. You're more interested and what other people are doing and experiencing than doing it or experiencing it yourself. And that is fucking on you. What kind of an example is that leaving your kids? Do you want your kids to grow up and repeat that process? How pissed would you be? Let's fast forward 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 10 years. And you're over at your kid's house. You see your grandchildren desperately fucking asking for attention from their parents, your children. And they're so preoccupied with everything else that's going on that they're not there for the ones that they supposedly love the most. Being distracted by things that don't fucking matter, people that they don't care about, and people that would never fucking call them. Probably because they can't rely on them. They don't have faith in them. And they can't trust them. Is that you? Are you someone that people can rely on? Are you someone that people can trust? Are you someone that people have faith in? Are you doing the fucking work? Are you doing what the fuck you say you're going to do when the fuck you say you're going to do it? You know, it's, you know, I do these episodes and I'll look like I'm looking actually at a teleprompter. Now, I can't directly see my reflection, but it's got a mirrored surface on it. And then also behind that is my TV monitor, which has, you know, I can see myself. So I'm looking at myself when I say some of these things, most of these things, to be honest. You just happen to hear what's going on in my head and how I look at myself and how I talk to myself and how I motivate and inspire myself, how I keep myself accountable. And you just happen to be fucking sitting up there, you know, chilling, getting to experience what that fucking conversation looks like. But if that's convicting you, if you're fucked up in the head right now because of some of the things that I said, look into that. You know, I say it all the time. Don't fucking just take what I have to say and assume that it's scripture, right? You got to find what works for you. You got to find what actually impacts you. You got to find what means something to you deep down inside. What is that? What does that look like? How does that feel? How can this is a circumstance, how can I react to this a certain type of way? And if you're still listening to it, it's obviously because you wanted to get something out of it. You did have that draw, that attraction, and that conviction to keep listening to figure out how can you get to the bottom of this? How can you do some soul searching to see what you need to do and how you need to feel and how you need to comprehend that it's time for you to put one foot in front of the other and take that step to become that 1% better version of yourself today. And then you do it again tomorrow, and then you do it again the next day and the next day and the next day till you become someone that people can rely on. You become someone that people that can have faith in, and you become someone that people can trust, all because you simply do what the fuck you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it by just simply doing fucking better. All right, guys, my name is Zach Orwell Williams. I hope you got something out of that. This is another episode of Uncaged. If you hadn't had a chance to go watch Unchained, which is myself and Heather and our co-ed conversation about this exact topic, go check it out. If you got something from this, please share it with a homie because we trying to change the fucking world one person at a time. I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.